From Toronto is Soo Wong. She is the first female Chinese Canadian to be elected to the Ontario Legislature there, and last year she introduced a bill to establish December 13th as Nanjing Massacre Commemorative Day. Tell us about how this day, this painful chapter, is going to be honored there in Canada.
Well, good afternoon. I should say good evening, Mike. I'm very pleased to be here joining you about the Nanjing Massacre Commemorative Day here in Ontario. There have been a number of events already held here in Ontario dealing with this piece. So tomorrow at the Ontario Legislature, I will be asking unanimous consent with regard to a moment of silence to remember the Nanjing Massacre. I will also be seeking unanimous consent to wear the purple peace flower at Queen's Park. And I will also be making a statement at Queen's Park about the Nanjing Massacre Commemorative Day, the 80th anniversary. So there's a number of events already happening here in Ontario. About 2 weeks ago, I was at University of Toronto, Mississauga campus. The young students already starting to do the commemoration of the Nanjing Massacre. And I also know young people across Ontario are learning about this atrocity, and which is a very important part of this awareness about this atrocity, because much of the day it focuses on Nanjing Massacre, but it's also about education and awareness, reflection, recognition, and most important, to remember the voices, the faces of those victims and survivors of the Nanjing Massacre, which is very, very important to many Ontarians.
And you've been out in front spearheading this, but you've pointed out in earlier interviews we've done that Canada is really out in front when it comes to commemorating this day. Why do you think that is?
Well, in Ontario, we are very proud of the fact that we are leading the way when it comes to inclusive society. We live in a very diverse province. We have a number of other days in Ontario, whether it's Holocaust Remembrance, Holodomor Remembrance, Armenian Genocide. We recognize a number of these atrocities around the world. With over millions of Ontarians that have an Asian heritage, we need to recognize these Canadians. Their history, their stories, their sufferings cannot go unnoticed. So I know that the Government of Ontario and my colleague at the Ontario Legislature have been addressing this issue now for over a year. First, my Bill 79 and Motion 66 that was recently passed in Ontario. So I'm very, very pleased my colleague from all three parties recognized the Nanjing Massacre Commemorative Day this year. For the first time, we will have a day to remember, but more importantly, to provide an opportunity for Ontarians to learn about this history, to remember, to reflect, and most importantly, to learn about this piece. So it's a very important piece.
All of that vitally important. Soo Wong, thank you so much for joining us from Toronto. Appreciate it.